Hey traders, welcome back to another live trading video where I capture some of my live Forex trades here on camera. So this morning I took a look at dollar yen. I set my order to potentially get long on this trade if price broke through a key level. And today what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about my trade here, my analysis, my entry, and how the actual trade unfolds. If you guys like these videos and you want me to do more live trading videos, do me a favor, smash the like button down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new here. So we're looking at USDJPY. And as price has come towards this kind of entry, I've been kind of away from the computer, but at this point I'm able to film this. So what we had was price came up to this level here of resistance. This previous level actually acted as a strong resistance level. We're looking here at the 1 hour chart, and you can see price came up into this area and actually sold off very nicely from there, holding that level of resistance. Well, this morning, price started to surge very bullishly here on your USDJPY. So as price started to make a move on to the upside, I actually woke up probably around this area in the New York session. So a lot of the bulk move actually ended up happening in the UK session, but I'm currently long on this position. And again, I'm going to talk about why. So now we are in the New York session. This is, again, we're doing short-term trades here. And this concept is mostly a breakout strategy style that I use in my own personal trading. So we have this level of resistance. Let me talk about this previous high that we came in and we made on this market. Well, you might ask, well, why did you actually buy at the high here? You can see my buy trade is right here. I'm risking about 10 pips there to potentially make 30. So we actually had price come up to this area here and start out by rejecting this area as we had previously. So if I back up just a little bit here, you can see that when price came up into this area here, we actually rejected that initially. And this is when I was looking at the trade. So as price started to reject, I said, okay, well, I think this potentially could be a double top and we could actually see price go lower. But if we get a very shallow retracement here and there's not a lot of sell pressure, then I think we have the potential to continue what we started in the UK session here in the New York session. And that's where my trade kind of got executed. You can see price actually ended up folding back very, very shortly before exploding towards the upside. And I got long at this particular point here. So even though this level is a resistance point, right, I actually got into the trade right around the top of this resistance after it showed signs of potentially breaking that resistance zone to the upside. That may sound a little bit confusing. Hopefully that clears it up a little bit. So we shot up, we had a very shallow retracement. And at this point, I basically said, okay, if price starts to shoot back up, I think it's going to break through. What happened? We actually ended up seeing that happen, and now we're seeing the follow through. Now, do I know that this trade is going to finish out, profitably? No, I do not, because at this point, I'm not ready to move my stops. I'm not going to move the trade around at all. And what we could totally see happen would be a potential move back down and stop me out, right? That would mean that price just comes back and it comes back and stops out for a loss there of, again, right around negative 10 pips, okay? Now, on the contrary, if price does decide to continue in the direction that we're hoping for, right, which would be a continuation up on dollar yen, then this total trade would be a profit of 30 pips here on USDJPY. Now, you have to remember this is a short-term trade, so this is, I've only been in the trade for a little over 2 hours, I think, there. So I've just been in the trade and looking to see where this profit can go to. But I wanted to talk again about my entry. I talked about the fact that, okay, we had that move, we had that slight retracement, and as price started to shoot up again, I wanted to be a part of the continuation. It might seem a little bit weird. It might seem like I'm just buying the high, right? And that I'm just buying just to chase the move. But this is actually pretty kind of calculated. I want to add one more additional thing to this kind of trade. And that is that, again, dollar yen has been showing a lot of signs of kind of overall continuation to the upside, right? So if we take a look here at this trend line, we've seen sellers be in control of this market. Well, in the UK session, as we mentioned, we had this resistance. What happened here? Price shifted its momentum, broke out, and now we're seeing the continuation here. The big thing that I'm worried, the kind of the biggest bearish reason to kind of get over right here would be, in my mind, would be this area of resistance here. Are we able to break through this significant level of resistance? We are in a resistance point. So you might be like, well, Nick, why don't you just take profits, right? Well, remember, I'm trading the short-term charts looking for just a breakthrough on this particular zone that we talked about, right? Looking left, I saw this level of resistance. I saw the signs of potential continuation. So far, so good. And now I just want to see if we can make a continuation move up to here. I want to keep my risk to reward relatively healthy, meaning, we have our risk here. If 1 times, we actually have a 3 times our reward relative to our risk. So I'm looking to see if dollar yen can get the movement. Stay tuned for the rest of the video where I'm going to basically watch how this trade unfolds, whether it's a winner or loser. I'll post it on YouTube for you guys to hopefully learn from. If it's a winner, that'll be one thing, and the losers are always fun too, because you get a lot of people who said, well, you should have done this and you should have done that. And that's kind of a lesson for people who are viewing as well, is that, honestly, the hindsight bias of knowing what's going to happen because you're watching a video is very important not to get caught up in, because traders do that not just in a video, but in their own trading, right? So the whole thing is sometimes traders are, they say to themselves, oh, well, I should have done this in my strategy and then I would have made money. Or I should have done this, or I should not have done this, right? There's always that hindsight. You already know what happened. And that's kind of a dangerous mindset to have as a trader. It's important to understand that you don't know exactly what's going to happen next in the market. Nobody is a wizard like that and knows every single bit of what's going to happen, right? There's always some essence of unsure or uncertainty in our trading. And so it's very important that we keep our risk managed and that we look to take profit where we can and we look to remove risk where we can as well. So in this current situation, I'm very happy with how this trade is starting out, and I'm looking for the continuation off of this breakout concept here at the 109.1 level. Stay tuned. I'll be back soon with an update for you guys. Okay, traders, so a quick little update here on USDJPY. You can see we are moving nicely into the profit zone. We're pretty close to where I'm looking to take profit. And what's nice about this is we actually did close above, or we've started to break and hopefully closing above this level of resistance that we just talked about, right? So we just filled the gap. And that's another thing I wanted to point out is that, this gap recently got filled here, but then as it filled that gap, we actually saw price drop on USDJPY. Price came up and filled this gap that we saw here and started to actually go back down. Well, now we've broken past, and that was kind of the big barrier, was breaking past that gap fill zone here if we look left. Now, as we make a movement here, the big thing is, can we hold and break above and close above this level? If so, I think it's a pretty good chance we could get out of our trade there for a full take profit of, I think it's within, just about 30 pips there, and currently up about 23. So we've got a little bit further to go there on the position. We'll see if we can get that full take profit, but so far looking very, very bullish and continuing the momentum to the upside. Sometimes some of the biggest trades or some of the biggest plays that I catch on the breakout accounts, they oftentimes look like they're too high to buy, or they look like they're too low to sell. Sometimes that's kind of a little bit tough to get into a position, but to me, it's not about trying to say exactly where the market is at its top or where it's at its bottom, but trying to actually catch the next wave and to just ride where momentum is at and not ask so many questions about, is this too high and is it going to fall and is it too far? To me, it's better to say, okay, the momentum and signs of continuation are there, and I think that there could be a better chance that we see markets continue to push rather than completely reverse. So in this case, that was one of these trades. Very simply put, I was looking for the continuation of this breakout setup here, this resistance point. We have seen that, and now we are breaking above. Again, kind of that major point that we pointed out, which was this resistance zone here. And now price looking like, again, it's broken above that. And the big thing here on the 1 hour chart would be to see if we can close above that level. And if we do, I think that we're probably pretty in the clear to head up and get out of the trade there at that 109.410. We'll see how the trade ends up. Again, I'll be back soon with an update here on USDJPY. So there we go, traders. We are all out of USDJPY. Price ended up getting up to our level of take profit there. You can see really nice continuation on this particular move. We saw price come right through our level. We got into the trade there on our entry, and you can see on the 4 hour chart even, we had a nice little bullish push on USDJPY. Again, one of the other concepts with this kind of trade is if I draw another trend line, we have this kind of overall downwardness on USDJPY. We have the downward trend structure. Depending on how you draw these two different trend lines, Basically, they agree that there was downward momentum here on USDJPY. Well, into the London session, we saw that shift. We saw the start of a potential bigger move to the upside, and that's really what I wanted to be a part of. So in some ways, this was kind of a counter trend breakout. We were looking for the continuation of this counter trend breakout. So we had this kind of series of downward movement, and then when price started to break that structure, I looked to get involved on the continuation. Very simple pattern, and it's not going to work every single time. So if you're watching these videos and you're hoping, well, okay, now I'm going to try and enter exactly like that. There's times where this exact entry that you guys see here playing out as a winner can turn into a loser, and that's okay. It's not necessarily about being right every single time as much as it's about getting into your trade at the proper execution. So timing is a component of it, but it's more so, and not only the timing so much as it's sticking to the strategy, keeping your position size under control, sticking with the trade as per your rules say to do. If price decided to reverse against me, then no big deal. We would take a loss and we'd find another setup. But in this case, we took the trade, we saw the trade continue in our favor, we stuck to the plan and took that 3 times risk to reward winner there. And it was a good trade overall. I hope you got something out of this video. If you did, again, make sure to like the video down below. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more trading content in the future, and we'll see you guys back next time.